Hello, hello. I am Pretty Bird,
Diane Sweetie.
and together we are Pretty Sweet. Welcome to a very special edition of Pretty Sweet Distractions, where we usually speak unfiltered about life, love, poetry, and prowess. And today it's going to be all things Titus. This is a celebration of the life and love of, or our love for whatever of Mr. Titus Llewellyn, Dr. Anthony Smith. He is just all the good things. And unfortunately, he passed away about a week ago. And this is us celebrating what he meant to us. And we will hopefully have people coming in and out throughout the show, um, telling us how he touched their lives, how he moved them, and all the things. Um, so, just if this is your first time here, just know that we are grown up people talking about grown up things, using all the grown up words. And if you're easily offended, prepare to be offended, because even on a night of um, solemn love, he was here with us the whole time, and he joined right in with our shenanigans. So we shall not change, and we hope that that doesn't offend anybody, but it may. You have been warned. We usually have live streams every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. So here on a Saturday at 8 o'clock, this is a first for all of us. So we like to have fun, poke fun, and generally have a great time. I don't know how great a time we're going to have because it's sad, but it's also a celebration of life. So hopefully it will be all the good things, just like he was all the good things. Oh my goodness. So let's say hello to Raconteur. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Oh, Raconteur.
Hello,
There you go.
hello, hello.
I know some people like the sound of my voice, not generally when I'm sick like I am now, but I don't particularly like hearing the sound of my voice with nobody else talking back at me. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness. I don't know where to start. So I guess I will read what I kind of put forth as a request for people to come join us. And it is everyone is invited to write and read a letter to Titus Llewellyn, Dr. Anthony Smith. He has graced us with the beauty of his life's work. He has written volumes of earth angels, immortalizing those men and women who touched his heart. If he has touched yours, please join us. Tell your story of the impact he had on you and or your writing. And when this show is published on our regular podcast channel, you'll be able to leave messages and do all of the things and say your piece. And that way his family can just look at it and read all the good things and listen to all the good things about our beloved Titus. So if you're joining us live, great. If you're happen upon this later, you can still leave a message, write to Titus, and tell him how missed he will be. Do you have anything to add before we get into things, sweet?
No, just please, if you do come upon this later and you have something to say, leave a message for Titus. It's very, um, it means a lot. So just leave that message.
And
Yeah.
pardon me for sucking on lozenges, but I have zero voice, and you wouldn't be able to hear me at all. I will sound like, the crypt keeper. It's going to be unfortunate. So I'm hoping it's not going to be too annoying. So it's funny. We did a little mini goodbye to Titus, the three of us, because we were very close to him. And so we felt like, since he was our people, he needed a side piece. And so this one's open to everybody. But here's the thing. He is very well known as a classic poet. He does forms beautifully. He writes um, exquisitely with a precision of language I have never seen. Um, he makes sonnets look easy. They are not. They are the bane of my existence. I absolutely hate them. Not that I hate reading them and not that I hate the way he writes, obviously not, but I hate writing them because I cannot with the iambic pentameter. I do not word math my brain. It does not work that way. But his does. And it flows out of him just like music, and it's amazing. And he wrote in all kinds of forms in all kinds of ways. And a couple of months back, he wrote for us a free verse where he uses all the grown up words. And I was so stinking delighted because I'm a free verse kind of gal. Like that's my happy place. And I've never actually come upon anything more than a brevity that was free verse from him. Now, granted, he has thousands upon thousands of poems. I have not read thousands upon thousands of poems. I think I maybe have gone through about 1,100 of them over the years, which again is a lot. But he's the king of love poems. He has lists that have 400 here and 300 there, like hundreds and hundreds in each list of love poems. Some throughout his life, 99% about his lady love, Maureen, which he wrote about often and wrote little things in the board, and it's all truly beloved and amazing. And I was like, I mean, okay. So one of the first times I came across Titus was on the very first show that I hosted. And by came across, I mean, I actually paid attention to because I am not a big fan of poetry in general. I know I'm such a hypocrite, but I'm not. I have to be in the mood. And so he wrote for my show, and he wrote this beautiful poem that I can't remember to this day. But the first thing out of my mouth was, "Oh, swoon," because I was like, "Okay, I need a love letter. I want somebody to write me a love letter that's half as pretty as that, that's as half as that, and is half as honest." Because it was so wonderfully romantic and so heartfelt that, sometimes poetry sounds like lip service and it sounds like it is not necessarily heartfelt, but just a bunch of pretty words. But you can't purple prose love and make it feel real. You have to write with some kind of affection to make somebody feel some kind of affection. And that was his happy place. That was, I mean, if he wrote a poem in 5 minutes, it's going to be some kind of love because he was very attuned with his emotions. He has let us know through stories, through his ridiculously, wonderfully in depth and insightful theses on sin for our Hell Week, where we opened every single show a different sin per show with his thesis on that particular sin, and they're beautiful and painful, and it's like he was the epitome of learning from all the lessons of life. And there's a distinction. What was that? Did you say something sweet? Anyways, it sounded like you said something, so I'm
No,
sorry
I
if I
did
cut.
not.
Okay. Maybe I'm just hearing things because sometimes that happens. Not that I hear things, but the studio sometimes glitches. You're fine. Um, but there is a distinction if you've paid attention to his works. There is a before and there is an after the love of his life. And there was a lot of pain on both halves of that because what wonderful love story doesn't have a little bit of tragedy or a little bit of distance, a little bit of pain to make it that much more worthwhile, and it had distance. It had all of these things. And he spoke often about his childhood and what that taught him, and when he lost himself, and then he found himself, and then he found his love, and it changed who he was, like, inherently. It made him a better person. It made him want to be a better person. And it's just a beautiful thing to experience through his words, through his eyes. And he was so wonderfully in love and wonderfully respectful that because our shows start at like what 3 o'clock in the morning, 10, 11, 12, 1, yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning where he lived, he absolutely refused as politely as possible. He's like, I would never venture to wake her slumber. So he was afraid it was going to be too loud, and he wouldn't. And I love that because we're a bunch of brazen Americans that sit here and we don't have we define respect differently apparently, because we're just all about um
We're a
doing
raucous
what
bunch.
a little bit. So I mean, I do my shows, they go on till whatever. If people are sleeping, they're across the house. If I get too loud, it is what it is. I've warned you, because sometimes things just need doing. So the fact that he would curtail his desire to be verbally on a show, to not even, like, it wouldn't even cross his mind. I was like, I need to be loved like that. That's what I want, because it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Having said that, he was up in our comments just laughing with us and making all the jokes and being wonderfully off color. I know, Titus off color. What the hell is that? That's our Titus with his wonderfully equally twisted sense of humor, his dry wit, quick witted. I mean, I talk fast, and I would be halfway done saying something and he's already responding, and I'm just like, oh, look at that. We had a great time with Titus because on our show, he was our Titus. He was different. He was free. He was delightful. He would crack us up. He on naughty nights, he was slightly off color. We were really off color because that's what we do, and he's just just a little bit. And I kind of love that he just I could feel him laughing in the comments because he's just so stinking funny. And knowing that he found joy in hanging out with us as much as we found joy in him sharing time, it just made my day. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So we have a lot of memories and if you go back and listen to our shows, especially, the first few months we were on Pretty Sweet Distractions, he is there at the top of every show, every single stinking show. It took him however many months before he missed a show. And he is just laughing with us. And if you hear that snoring in the background, that's my bulldog. Please don't mind her. She will not shut up. This is how I know she's breathing, so we're good. I mean, he's delightful. Absolutely stinking delightful. And I don't have words to describe the feeling of being on a show that he is not there. It feels naked in a crowd, and it feels kind of wrong, and it feels unfortunate. And, but that's just me. Now, before I let you in here, AP, hello, hello. Do you want your camera on, or do you want me to turn that off? Oh, wait, I suppose I have to actually hear the thing. Okay. There you are.
Am I
Hello. Want me to
too
turn that off?
close? Am I too close? Probably
No,
am.
you're fine.
Probably
You're
am too
braver than I
close.
am. Now you're
No, no,
good.
no. It's Sunday morning here, so I'm actually not looking too terrible. So that's a good start.
There you go. It's a long time no see. I'm so glad that you came to visit us. And did you bring us a poem? Or are you going to tell us stories all about Titus?
Well, I was going to tell a story first, and then I do have a poem actually because I put one up on all poetry. So we should all be able to access that. I think. Sweet, is that and Pretty Bird under me. So I do have a poem there. Um, I think the thing for me about Titus was that he from all accounts and interpretations had just a terrible childhood and struggled to fit in to the world and the thing that I always admired about Titus was that he continued to hold out for his one love, and not only did he continue to hold that optimism and hope that he would find that one person, that lo and behold, he actually found them, and had this most remarkable relationship with this lady, and I just think, you know, Titus is obviously a fantastic poet, but a real sort of talisman to hope and to love.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And I love that you brought that up, because we were just talking about how there's kind of before his lady love and then after his lady love in his writing, and it's very, very different. You've got the ones about his feeling invisible when he was younger, and the ones where he feels so full he's pouring out love with, you know, once they were finally able to be together, and it is like this full gamut of emotion that he writes with, that is just so compelling and so stinking beautiful, that
Mm,
it's like, um whenever he would have a love sonnet, or I'd be like, oh, Titus, you need to write me a love poem. Because that's what all girls dream of. If they ever want poetry, they want poetry like Titus, you know, because it's
yeah.
all the things. He does not hold back. And it takes a certain amount of bravery, coming from not being able to show your emotions for half your life to pouring it out there so freely. It's a testament to how well he was loved. It's a testament to how comfortable he was in that it was absolutely everything. And um it is just one of the most beautiful things that I think that we got to witness just on a regular basis. It's just kind of part of who he is, you know?
Mm.
So I absolutely love that. So 1 second. So love poems. Hello, hello.
I love poems. I made a mistake. I meant to say I love poems. I
Ah,
mistyped.
Sarah,
How
how
are
are
you?
you?
I'm actually not feeling well, but I called because I want to really celebrate. Titus, how are
Titus?
you, dear? How are you
I
all?
am awesome. So we have me and Sweet Pea and Raconteur, and we're looking at Mr. AP Taylor. Hello, hello. And
Hello.
Buddha is with us, but he's having problems with his mic. So he's hanging out.
Hey,
So he
Buddha.
is there.
Wonderful. I'm just called to, I'm so sorry. I just had, I explained to you, so I'm just have to call and just read. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stay too long.
Okay, do you have enough time to so that we can have AP read first, and since we just got through his story?
Of course.
I'm happy to wait. I'm happy to wait,
Okay.
guys. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so
All right.
sorry. I just had
No.
I had a surgery and I'm not feeling well. So that's why.
Oh, well, I
Um,
hope you feel better. I
thank,
appreciate you stopping by. So
thank
yes,
you.
go ahead. Tell your
Okay,
story, read your piece.
okay, let me find it. Titus, sorry, I just had it written here. Yes, here we go. With Titus, it's really such a kind soul. I really gonna be missed. Actually, he did so much for us. He always, I'm sure, I know a lot of you. Dedication poems. I was one of them. It touched my heart. Really, his kindness, how he described me, how he can see me. And one of the things that really got my attention in the beginning, his the timbre of his voice, the reading, it just gets into your heart, make you cry, and the sophistication and elegance of his poem, his love for his wife, and respect for everyone. He's truly going to be missed. And his book that he published recently, he even put me there. It just means so much to me. It really is. I'm in tears right now.
Yeah.
It's just he always going to be remembered in a beautiful way. He was one of people who touched your heart and will always touch your heart. So
Ab-
my letter dedicated, it's a letter, right? From my understanding, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. It's very simple, it's from the heart. You have left this world, Titus Tony, but what you left behind will never be forgotten. Your poetry, your kindness, your generosity, and the beauty of your soul. You will continue to be in the memories and the hearts of so many. You dedicated so many poems for countless people. I will always be grateful to be one of them. I will also always remember the unique timbre of your voice when you read your elegant, sophisticated poems. Your love for your wife, friends, and everyone whose lives you touch shone in the warmth of every word you wrote. Rest in peace, dear Titus. Your memory will live on through your poems and our hearts.
Yeah. I've been trying to write a letter for Titus and I can't because I turned to a blubbering idiot. Um, so I appreciate that, and I'm sure his family will appreciate listening to this. I'm going to link this to Maureen. I told her that we were going to go ahead and do it, and that's his wife. And so,
Yes, Maureen.
yes, and I know that she'll absolutely appreciate how much he was loved. And
Yes. Thank
I
you,
hope that you
P, for letting me read before you. I'm sorry, just like drowsy a little bit.
oh, no, feel
Uh,
better.
Thank
I hope
you.
that you heal quickly, and thank you
Thank
so much for stopping by.
Thank you. Thank you all. And raconteur and Sweet Pea, everyone. Good. Thank you. Good night.
Great stuff.
Good to hear
Good
you
night,
all.
sweet.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, we're here every Tuesday and Thursday. Feel free.
Okay, I will try.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Salwa.
Bye-bye.
You know, we had gotten really close to Titus over this last year. He kind of stuck with us when we went off on our own, and he shared time with us, and he believed in us. And I sit there and I struggle to this day with not so much confidence, like normal confidence. I struggle with, I don't think I do much. I get on here, I talk, I puke up words, I call it a show, the show ends, I move on. That's just, I don't think anything of it, you know? Probably because it gives me anxiety if I do, and then I'll never speak. I know, go figure. But he was unwavering in the way he was like, no, y'all are fabulous. And I'm just like, if you say so, because he was very honest and very encouraging. And there aren't a lot of people you come across in life that are always encouraging. He never had a mean thing to say. And even if you asked, at least in my experience, if you asked, for help with this poem and there was something that could be improved on, he would still make it sound like you did all the great things, even if he had suggestions about everything. He was very much a wonderful teacher, and loved to offer his guidance. He was just happy to help anyone. And I know listen, I kind of hate people, I'm like, sometimes people suck and it takes me a long time to warm up to people. But he wasn't like that. He kind of welcomed everybody and saw beauty in all of the things. And I think that stems from the fact that he spent a lot of his life feeling invisible. And so I don't think that he ever let anybody else like that caught his vision ever feel unseen. And that's a big undertaking to kind of enmesh into part of who you are. And but it's kind of what he was here for. That it almost felt like that was his purpose, to make sure that if he could help it, nobody would feel as invisible or as unseen as he spent so much time feeling, you know. And okay, so I don't want to blubber, so I'm gonna stop talking for a hot second so I can just suck it up, because once I start, I don't know if it's gonna stop, because he meant the world to me, and we got really close over this last year, especially. And he had been sick, and he had, in and out of different procedures, that he, was all good spirits the whole entire time. Never anything to really worry about. He was just jovial and jolly and all with the jokes. And he was quite delightful. And it's funny because when I first started reading him on shows, he seemed very, I don't want to say stodgy, but kinda. He's very classical, very classically written, very proper, very all of this. And the pictures that he had up there are all in his three-piece suits and all very British proper. He was not. Like, not even a little bit. He's as off color as we were, quick-witted, absolutely stinking hysterical. And he threw me for a loop. I said something about music, and he's like, I was a dancer. Excuse me? Like, not
Mm.
even like ballroom dancing or fancy dancing. He was like full on stage club dancing. And I'm just like, ooh, Titus, do tell. Because it's not what you see when you read him and all of his beautiful romance. You don't really see, or I never saw him anyway as, let me just go and freestyle on the dance floor. And I loved knowing that. I loved finding that out. So I just thought he was just lovely all around and so full of surprises. Like he just never stopped surprising us. So if you are ready, AP, would you like to read your poem? I'm assuming this is
I
the right
was just
poem.
going to find it, and I have
It's
it in front of me now, if that's okay.
and is it the of a romantic lineage, that one?
It is. It
Oh,
is. It
perfect. Okay,
is
yes.
called Off a Romantic Lineage, and it goes a little bit like this. Dr. Smith, I presume, as strings turn brazen with alacrity, an erudite recording chosen to groom one's emotions would fall in their majesty, their intrepid dash off elevation, joining the lineage of poets past, demurely convey a verve and sensation, aligning softly upon their targets, so cast. By acquiescence, not for fame, a mind seared in phrases astute, sought to eloquently extol his one aim, learned in exposition, seen poet of repute. Insular of childhood heckles, rose to elation, love, and devotion. His candour and joy left behind Jekylls, to instead delight with his work's notions. Uplifting and inventive in tone, abilities and skills pushed to the edge. A proud Englishman, but never alone. Oft words and people, swelled knowledge and poem.
Sweet. I spoke for like, an hour. You want to lead this one off?
Sure. I love how that you start off with Dr. Smith because he had such a massive education and he knew so much about so many things. But the thing that he really knew about was recording and chosen to groom one's emotions. And I think that's what he was so proud about. Even though he would go off and do these massive projects. And one of the things that he loved to talk about was, you know, the stars and the mysteries of the planets. And he wrote several poems about it and his mathematics. And you kind of go into this of joining the lineage of poets past. He's also had a degree in that. And I always loved that about him. I'd have to go in and go back and study it and sometimes, really look at all the words he used. And he would always have conversations with me. Well, let's look into this, let's look into that. And his patience and all of that was something that was so great about him. And he didn't do it for the fame. He did it for the love of it. And so eloquently. And then you talk about his childhood. And if you really got to know Titus, you really did know how sad and lonely he was as a child. And so you covered that so much. And then his uplifting and his tone and his abilities. He was a proud Englishman, but never alone. The people swirled his knowledge. So you did such a great tribute to him. And you touched so many parts of his life, and I really appreciate that. Because Titus was all of these things wrapped up. It's such a wonderful, glorious human. So may he absolutely rest in peace. So thank you for bringing this, AP. It's
Excellent.
greatly appreciated.
Cheers.
And Racontor, your thoughts?
I mean, I hesitate to comment on how he affected AP and what he saw, but if I didn't know Titus the way I know Titus, I think he did an amazing job talking about his life in a very beautiful and respectful way. I think he would have really appreciated. How do you talk about somebody when they're not there, but at the same time write it in a way that they might appreciate. You managed to do that, which isn't easy. And the way that he was, and the things that he meant to us. You definitely cover all of that. But again, it's very descriptive of of him. The way that you wrote that, and I think he did an amazing job talking about him and what he wrote and how he affected us all. Um, it's a gorgeous piece, AP.
Thanks, Rack. Thank you.
Oh, I fully concur. So I tend to talk a lot, so here it comes. First, it has been so long since I've heard you read. That was lovely, and I missed it. I missed that shrine, so I'm so glad that you were here. So, if you ever doubted, you were missed. Just so that you know, and so it's the middle verse for me that is by acquiescence, not for fame, a mind seared in phrases astute, sought to eloquently extol his one aim, learned in exposition, seen poet of repute. And here's the thing. He was, for as wonderful as he was, as eloquent as he was humble. He was very humble, and to the point where he wrote different theses for our Hell Week. And at the bottom of it, because it was a proper thesis, like a full, like little paper, he had all of his degrees listed, and that's like 2 lines worth of crap. And I'm just like, you never use your abbreviations. And he's like, I'm like, oh no, use your abbreviations, Dr. Smith, because you earned them, and and it's funny because he's like, well, I kind of earned them later in life. I'm like, that's all the more reason. Most people stop, they give up, they do not persevere, and you did all the things like tenfold. I was like, I'm proud of you, and I think that it shut him up because he didn't comment anything for a hot minute, and then he was like, thank you, pretty bird. So I don't know how often in his life he heard that it stopped him, and like it made him quiet even in text, and I was just like, oh, but he is eloquent, and I think maybe at the end of this I'll read the one that, okay, listen, we might have broken Titus a little bit because he used all the grown-up words in a free verse poem, and it's the best thing ever. I might have to read that at the end of the show because I don't know if many people even know that exists, and it is all the brilliance. That man could write anything. And and it's one thing to write all the forms, all the classic forms that are all the word math that you also are very adept at. Not the easiest thing to do with all the different. I can't with poet math because it's a lot with these forms, and you guys write them just like you're breathing, and it comes out with this nice flow and all beautiful. Where I'm going to read a sonnet that I wrote him later. And I call it a sonnet because it ticks the boxes. It is not a Titus sonnet. It is not eloquent. It is not. It's a sad thing, is what it is. Because you're the bane of my existence. I can either form or I can flow. The two together are not friends in my brain. So the fact that you notice that eloquence inside of all the things that made him him, I love that. I love how it's dead center of your poem. That there's more to him before he wrote, there's more to him after or beyond the writing. And I don't know if that verse was placed there on purpose or just that's how you saw it, but I think it's beautifully sandwiched in there. In such it just kind of makes it more profound. Like it's its own um oh my goodness, my brain just completely shut off with the punctuation. Oh my goodness. Now I can't even remember normal words. I'm not getting old. It's fine. And so I absolutely love that. Um, I am going to play Phil the Poet because he
I
gave us.
might disappear if I could.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
um, I'm 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 actually writing my first novel, and I'm very close to having a second version finished.
Oh,
Pretty
oh,
bird.
that's awesome.
So
So I have an
excited.
editor, and she's given me a whole heap of stuff I need to do and a timetable to do it on, and so
Oh, do your
I'm
homework.
yeah, I'll go do my homework exactly. Sunday morning, go do my homework. Bloody hell! So I'm learning how to become an author, and fingers crossed that'll work. So
I mean,
thank
poet
you for the
check,
opportunity.
painter check, now novelist check, all the things.
All
I'm
that stuff.
excited for you. Make sure you let us know when
Thank
you're
you.
all done because I'm dying to read
I
it.
will. I will. Thank you,
Thank you for
guys. Thanks
sharing
for
the
the
time.
chance. Okay. Cheers.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Bye.
Right.
Okay. Bye.
bye.
So I am going to put Phil the Poet up, and we are going to listen to his Titus poem. I love that he was very quick to write for Titus, and I kind of love that. It reminds me of Titus because he was always quick to write for all the shows. He would just be inspired by the topics, and then next thing you know, a couple of hours or a day later, he's got like brilliance. I'm just like, oh, I'm struggling over here to think of anything to write for my own topics, and here you are with, oh, here's 3 poems for tomorrow night, and I'm just like, fine, be that way, be brilliant, you know. So of course, I would never begrudge him his brilliance because part of why we love Titus, but he was just
Yeah.
quick and wonderful. Okay, so this is Phil the Poet, and there is a recording. Here it is. Don't mind my dog. I'm sorry she's so loud. Oh, well, nothing wants to play at all. All right, let's try that again. My studio is frozen. So let's just give it a hot minute to do its thing. Oh, yeah, it's not even scrolling. Give me a second.
Oh, I love that when studios do that. You mentioned Titus doing the Hell Week pieces, and if you have not heard them, I would really highly recommend that you do because they are absolutely fabulous. So listen to the incredible work he did on Hell Week because I actually go back and just read them and listen to them because they're that amazing. His take on the seven deadly sins is just something to behold, and you'd be surprised at his take on most of them. I was, and it really did for a great series. He was absolutely amazing for that. So we had a really great time working with him on that.
All right, sweet.
Yeah,
I'm
he
gonna
was
need you
such
to
a
click
pleasure.
it because it's not my studio isn't doing anything. It is a final farewell to Titus at the top of the music.
Okay,
Do you see it?
see what I can do. Well, can't get me music open on mine either. So let's see. see what I can see. Okay. All right. I got it. Funky music too. I don't know why.
If you can, I don't know either, but find that and turn it. There you go. Okay. Yes.
This is a poem by Phil the Poet called A Final Farewell to Titus
Somehow I
Llewellyn.
don't think that was Phil.
O poet, you talked of ancient times, bringing them to life in your rhymes, a guide for those who would follow, to tread upon the breath of sorrow. O poet, you've left us treasures to behold. Llewellyn. This is a poem by Phil the Poet called A Final Farewell to Titus Llewellyn. Poet called A Final Farewell to Titus Llewellyn. O poet, you talked of ancient times, bringing them to life in your rhymes, a guide for those who would follow, to tread upon the breath of sorrow. O poet, you've left us treasures to behold, written on silver papyrus with edges of gold, words with beauty that captivated the soul, bound by a tight like a precious sacred scroll. O poet, you have stepped off this mortal coil, leaving behind your work which will never spoil, riding on the wings of immortal sweetness, forever free from the burden of bitterness. O poet, you brought us joy through every word. The image you created so sweetly appeared. Swift is life, and death is just a stepping stone. O troubadour, it's time to take your throne. Farewell, beloved poet, for your journey is swift. We have your memory, that is a beautiful gift, never to be forgotten. You go before us. Farewell, dear poet, lovingly known as Titus. End poem.
Okay, so before I publish this, I will put any recordings that sound really, really low. I will make sure that they sound wonderful. So in the final version of whatever you click on to get there, you'll be able to hear everything. Also, I'll be putting links to Titus's poetry and his SoundCloud in the description when this is published as well. So you'll be able to have access to all the things whenever anybody listens to it from now until forever. Amen. This was lovely, Phil. Farewell, beloved poet, for your journey is swift. We have your memory. That's a beautiful gift, never to be forgotten. You go before us. Farewell, dear poet, lovingly known as Titus. Excuse me. I have a hard time saying goodbye. And you go through talking of ancient times and leaving us treasures and beauty that captivates the soul and riding on the wings of immortal sweetness, which I love because, you know, it just is. And I can absolutely see him, crooked halo and all. And this is beautiful. It's absolutely lovely. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
You know, it reminds me of that Titus actually wrote about the universe and just finding out what was the next stepping stone and the next part of his life. And it's hard to even think about, but he always wondered, he always wanted to know, he always was very kind of sure that this was one life and there would be another, that there was something to explore and something to go to. So I love that you say, and death is just a stepping stone. Oh, troubadour, it's time to take your throne. Because he always wanted to know what the mysteries of the world was, and that's what I see him doing. is to go out there and be exploring. And that's where I see Titus. So I really, really found this beautiful, Phil. And Rock, your thoughts.
I couldn't really hear it, but I enjoyed what I heard, Phil. It was beautifully respectful and wonderfully descriptive of him. What I heard, the idea of the comparison, shuffling off this mortal coil, I thought was kind of brilliant too. I'm sorry, Phil, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll have to listen to it again later.
You know, it's funny. We have our inside jokes and we have our wonderful little open affections and all the things when it comes to Titus. And Titus wrote um, he wrote love mostly. He wrote pain in equal measure, and he wrote them beautifully. But he also did sensual, and um, and sometimes, okay. So I'm going to say some things because he is who he is. The Ballad of Burning Need is by far the steamiest thing of all the things. Zero regrets, zero regard. Just it is what it is, and it's a sonnet chain of perfection. But then there is his recording of Our Guilty Pleasures. Um, and there's Whispering Titus. So I suggest you all go listen to a Whispering Titus because it's a beautiful thing to behold. But it's funny because he gets seen as a classic poet, which is brilliant, by the way, to be likened to the greats, to Renaissance poet, to the great, troubadours and balladeers and all the things, because he absolutely paid homage to um, all of the greats. Like this is where his love of poetry grew. But he was very much Titus. And there are poems that once you understand the subtleties of who he is, and um, see, he was so highly revered that everything was prim and proper. And then he came at us like a person because, obviously he's a person, even though, he was always, bigger than all of us. It felt that way anyway. And then it's like, oh, it's all the things. It's all the things all the time. And I think that we learn to appreciate all the layers of human that he actually wrote in. And I say it that way because there's a certain perfection to his writing that he never saw, but everybody else did, because his sonnets were, his Shakespearean ones were perfect iambic pentameter, were perfect flow, were perfect fancy words, were perfect in all of the things that I know that I can't. And I know a lot of us are really easily intimidated when it comes to the brilliance of his writing. But what's more beautiful than his actual words is the brilliance of his mind, and not for nothing. He can be just as sensual as the rest of us, and we're brazen Americans. And I say it that way because we give no shits. It is what it is. We are who we are, and we never changed for our audience. Our audience kind of gravitates to us, and he felt free to just be who he was. So all the things, I'm like, I must have a really dirty mind. He's like, no, no, you're right. And I'm just like, oh, all right then,
Correct.
because yes, because it's just lovely to be able to be that free, and not everybody is. And even when I write sensual, sometimes it's prettier than it needs to be, which is funny because I'm not known for pretty writing. Okay, I'm known for emotional inspiration. It's a thing. And so I love the facets that kind of catch the light when you get to know who he is, because it's very easy
Yeah.
to read someone on the surface, but when you read them as a full human and not like just this great poet, you know, and I'm gonna liken him to Jesus. Okay, this is the way it's going to work. I say things. It is what it is. Here's the thing. Because he was a man, and I don't mean to be all blasphemous and all the things, but hear me out. He was a man, you know, Jesus, Son of God, all the good things. And before he took on his role as full savior, accepted who he is, accepted his lot in life, from 12 to 33, he went and did, you know, man things. You know, he went and he lived a life that nobody talks about. Okay. So you cannot tell me that you don't embrace your human side before you end up landing on who you're meant to be. I mean, kind of universally, but especially that way. And Titus too. You know, you kind of read him as all the great things that we know him as, the full grown version of himself, not realizing that he's still a well-rounded, full human, fully imperfect person, you know? And when you realize, oh, he's also a man and not just this great poet, you read him different. You read him in all the subtleties and all the nuances and all the things that are not beneath him. They are part of who he is. And because he is a person. And I know it sounds crazy, like we're like all hail Titus. It's not. It's just, it's so rare to find somebody that's so consistently brilliant. You know, I mean, all of us have moments of brilliant, or a line in a poem, or a verse, or maybe this one piece I wrote 5 years ago, whatever it is. But Titus, 9 out of 10 poems are just structurally perfect, beautifully eloquent. You know, that he is who he is, and he was very practiced, and he loved writing, and it was an outlet for all of the things, and he used it well. And I think that even in writing the way he writes, he felt unseen for a long time, because we're all just like, oh, look, it's classic. Oh, look, he reminds me of Shakespeare or Keats or whatever the heck. And he's just so great. And look at all his big fancy words and all of the things that now there's me, Sweet and Rack, and Bud was there, and you know, all of our people, when we're like, oh my, um, that's a lot of stuff. And I'm going to say something slightly off color, but not really, because it's just the title. It's a fully fingered affair, and nobody got that poem. It's one of his most recent ones, and nobody out there that's wonderfully romantic. I'm like, oh, sweetie, did you not read this poem? I mean, it's all the precursors to all the things, and it's not at all
Foreplay is romantic.
okay, but it's not at all moonlight and champagne, you know? It is very much after the date, the lights are off and things are getting steamy, but it's not blatant, because he doesn't really do blatant. What he does is soft, it's subtle, it's nuanced, and it's still very visceral. And I was
And
laughing
sincere.
very much. I was laughing reading the comments on that poem, not because they were funny, but because they're loving the poem on its face and don't realize that there's a whole book inside that cover, you know? And I'm just like, am I reading this wrong? No, I was not. It is what it is. Because that's how he wrote. He wrote with the full feeling of all of life's experiences. And we just, as a group of fellow poets, not as us in particular, because I mean we might have broken him a little bit. he went full freedom to write and all the things with us, with all of his jokes and all of this stuff, and I love that. It was just delightful. But generally speaking, he's just, he writes the way most poets wish they could write on their best day, and that's just what he would do on a daily basis. So it's hard to see past the beauty to the full meaning, to all the subtleties, to the 25 facets of a word. And I promise you, all of his words were multifaceted. I mean, it's just beautiful. We might get to some of that in a little bit. So Bud keeps on hanging out with us, but his microphone isn't working. So when he comes back again, I'll ask him if he wants me to read his poem because he wrote one or he brought one for tonight, and I'll go ahead and do that. But in the meantime, Sweet, did you want to read a summa?
I can definitely try to do that. Yes.
Okay, I'll put it up.
Okay.
Okay, so it is on the wall, and then I'm going to put it up here in the room. All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay. This is
Lamentation.
Lamentation. I had that one. Asthma. Swish waves of angels around those who pass away before us. The songs of prayers permeate the air. When time cometh, no one is spared. We shed burning in the grip of rapture. Emotions erupt with waves of despair. Sadness is due in silent tomorrows. Grief never comes to an end. The heart thumping heavily with agony. Thoughts go towards loved ones, galloping into the sky, racing for the edge of heaven, reaching their final destiny, shrouded in mystery. And poem.
You know, that is lovely and true. It says, we shed burning tears falling in the grip of rapture. Emotions erupt with waves of despair, and that's the thing. It's not a straight line. It is very much excuse me, it is very much ebbs and flows, and it catches you off guard, and it's not the easiest thing to stop once they flow. And that was um, an elegant way to describe grieving. It's quite lovely. Now, before I go on to get the rest of the comments on that poem, let's say hello to Miss Penelope. Hello, hello. Oh, there is no microphone attached to your thing, so I can't hear you. But you're in here, and I know you can hear us, but I don't know if you have to click your microphone on or make sure your microphone is paired if you're on your phone. But we can't, we don't have access to hear you right now. But Sweet Pea, your thoughts on the Summer's poem?
Grant, I agree. I think it's beautiful. The heart thumping heavily with agony. Thoughts go towards the loved ones. I love the image of them galloping into the sky, racing to the edge of heaven, reaching their final destiny, shrouded in mystery. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Just, just to think of Titus galloping. I just love that image of him just full force going for it. I know that Esma was a very, very good friend of hers, and I know this has really affected her too. And it's hard, and you do shed your tears, and you do your heart is heavy with that grief, and I know how much she loved Titus, and so I know this isn't easy for her, so I appreciate her bringing something to us and showing everyone how much she really cared about him. So I appreciate that. And Rack, any thoughts on this?
I'm going to sound like an idiot all night long because it's hard to comment on what other people say about him because they're pouring their hearts out and everything. And short of saying I agree, I appreciate your grief, and I'm right there with you. I understand how he touched you. This is a beautiful representation of what he meant, and the feelings that he left behind, and the remembrance. It's just a beautiful way to say, farewell. I enjoyed it.
Right. I agree.
So, Bud, I know that you're having mic problems. Um, did you want me to read your poem? And Penelope said, seems like in the last few years we've lost some legacy members who have always been around. It doesn't feel like AP without seeing their names. Absolutely. 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 I'm not used to it. I'm not, I mean, we've had two regular shows since he's been gone. And he was there all the time, or he would pop in and out, but he was kind of there all the time. And it's not the same knowing that we're not going to see his name pop up, or he's not going to make some hysterically funny and quite clever comment or something. He even went in full defensive mode on us, because on the other site that we were on, people would just they could just kind of click in, which I didn't appreciate, but they can just click in. And so we had a rule where unless you've been, unless we know who you are, or we have seen you listen to us more than once, you're not just going to click in, because we've had bad experiences with people talking about weird things, or being rude, or wanting to talk about the backyard barbecue or whatever it was. And so this one person, I was like, I'm sorry, but if you come back next week, or for the next show, we'll let you in all the stuff. And she's like, you're disrespectful, and blah 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 blah. And Titus is like, just so that you're aware, this is rule that we all have to abide by. This isn't something that they just came up with. So be patient, and they'll be glad to have you on. They just need to make sure they're not going to be one of the crazies. And I was just like, oh, he kind of called her crazy. All right then. But I love that he took it upon himself to come to our rescue, like we couldn't hold our own. But he's such a gentleman about everything. He's just a lovely, lovely person. So I am going to read Budo. Let me just go ahead and put him up. Okay, so he's on the wall. No, he's not. He's on the chat wall, and now he's in our group wall. And this is In Memoriam, spelled correctly, because I know I spelled it wrong, but I was going to fix it because this was me in mourning. It's fine. In Memoriam by Budo. And it goes like this. Hello, Tony. I remember a 70th birthday celebration for you and your poems on a blog talk show hosted by Deb and Pretty Bird. Our theme was to use lines picked from your poems and a word bank to write and honor you and your works in all poetry. It was an enjoyable project, one which ended up being a collaborative affair of words of yours and ours. I remember how thankful you were to have others take your lines and create whole new poems that were read out loud on the show. Your comments to each of us revealed the man behind his craft, both of grace and eloquence, and complimentary to have shared these moments. I didn't get to know you as deeply as others have on All Poetry, but what I did know was of a man of humble makeup and quiet integrity, even though his background and education showed otherwise. Thank you for being so giving, and I will be forever grateful for the gifts you have shared to all of us. Your legacy will be in the poems that you leave behind, and the voice we can listen to time and time again. I too remember that show, Bud. I remember that show. That's he had requested a show hosted by Deb and myself, and he, at the time, it was the first time that he had any kind of just for him celebration, and not just in poetry, just generally speaking, with any kind of group of people. Like, he never had a birthday party, and all of these things. So he felt very loved and appreciated, and it was something that he held dear. And his last birthday on Boxing Day this past year, we gave him a gift of a whole entire little side piece pre-recorded show just for him, and he was delighted. And he was so appreciative of anyone's time, anyone's affection, anyone's kindness. It's almost like he didn't think he deserved it, but him, more than most others, truly did, because he himself was kind and giving and thoughtful and all of the things. And I love that that's the moment you chose to share, because he held that show and so dearly, so close to his heart, that He has poems dedicated to it. He has all of these things because it meant the world to not be invisible, to not be lumped in as just this one thing, to feel seen and loved and appreciated. I mean, truth be told, is what we all want in life. We want to surround ourselves with people who appreciate us, who see us as we are, who support us, who are kind and thoughtful. Is that what we get? No, and we do it to our damn selves. Like on occasion, yes, but everybody is imperfect because humans are fallible. It's just kind of how we um are created as part of the human design. So sometimes we're the most supportive things on the planet. You're amazing. You're awesome. And sometimes we miss the boat because we have our own crap going on. And they're like, oh, wait, what happened to you? When was this? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, I did. Oh, my bad. Because sometimes we don't notice. And so that focus meant the world to him because it wasn't something that he could write off. It wasn't something that he could diminish because it felt wrong to be seen. This was a collective that was obvious obviously put together specifically to appreciate him, and he was beside himself, and it was a beautiful thing to behold. It really, really was. So Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
I remember the show. It just seems like it was just the other day, and it was very difficult to find just a few of his lines, or to pick which lines, or But when you talk about him being humble and his quiet integrity, that's something that was unmatched by just about anybody I know in all poetry and in my real life. Um, so many people want to tell you what they've done for you and how they've done it and why they've done it and all the many things. But Titus, sorry, he did things for you because it was what was right to do, or because he appreciated you, or because he wanted simply to help you. And Titus was one hell of a mentor to me. So I understand why this is the kind of letter you have written in. But I really could have missed the part of that. A lot of his comments and a lot of his giving. And yeah, I'm glad we have his voice to listen to time and time again. Thanks for writing such a great letter to him, bro. In fact, I'd ask you, but I think we get the same answer.
Oh, bud, this is a beautiful memory to share, and a perfect um, moment to kind of highlight and talk about, because I almost want to say it might have made him feel a little uncomfortable to be noticed, and even though he kind of requested the show. The end result, the overflow of gratitude, is kind of undeniable, because that's who he was. So, beautiful job.
Now he gave us the link to the poem that he wrote for that show that I will read later, but I have the poem that I wrote him up. Um, Penelope, it said, grief is just love persevering, a love that doesn't end when life does, and this is true. And I know Titus well enough to know that he wrote all of these poems profusely. Like I've never seen anybody write so much, so that we wouldn't have to miss him, so that his lady love wouldn't have to be fully broken, that she can fill a little bit of that space with all of these declarations of love, of all of the little subtle nuances of what their life was together and what he cherished most. And I kind of love that. And also stealing them. Not stealing them for myself, but we'll be reading them from now until forever, when sometimes you just need a little bit of Titus, because I think we all need a little bit of Titus. And I say that not in jest, in all seriousness. Because if he touched you, if you were ever one of his earth angels, and for those who don't know, if he there are a lot of men and women, hundreds, that he wrote these series of earth angels poems about, angels on earth, so to speak, the goodness that he sees in people. And I'm lucky enough to have a couple, and it changed from the very first one to the very last one that he wrote, as he got to know me. And I want to be, oh, I'm gonna cry. I am really trying not to blubber. I really, really am. Because my whole thing, and he used to make fun of me all the time, it's like, I do not like blubbering on the air. And I would read him, and the next thing you know, I'm like, for Pete's sake, Titus, because I would just blubber, because he just would get under my skin. And not a big
What you
fan
did.
of and but he had this way of seeing people. He would pull out all the things that you could not see in yourself, even if you never said you couldn't, even if you never verbalized it. He knew exactly what it was. He saw all of those things, and it was different for everybody. And he put them in words and offered them as gifts. And they made us all feel better than we see ourselves. I want to be who he believed me to be. And I am sucking it up, for Pete's sake. Okay, because everything that he saw in me was good. I'm sitting here going, I just talk out of my ass. I just say that. He's like, I can't fault your logic. The arguments you make, the things that you say, they're all kind of perfect. And I'm just like, I don't know from perfect, but thanks. But I also know that he's not a liar. And he said something so kind to me a couple of months ago. And I was like, well, because I know you don't lie, and because it's you who said it, I'm going to do my best to believe you. And he's like, it would be disrespectful to lie to you. And I'm like, well, much appreciated, because I don't do lies. I'm very much black, white, right, wrong, all the things. I'm not good with shades of gray. My life is not easy. So he saw people in ways that they just refuse to acknowledge in themselves, from whatever childhood trauma, from whatever their doubt is, whatever their coping mechanisms. He saw through it all. And he would absolutely lift you up. And I really don't know that he understood the impact of that, because he did it for other people, because nobody ever did that for him, you know? And so he spent a good portion of his adult life acknowledging the people who matter in his real life, online. Not that that's not real life, but we all have different factions of who we are. He made sure that if he appreciated you, you knew it. And I think that's something that we could all take to heart, at least a little bit, in our daily lives, because we tend to take people for granted. We tend to not let people know the profundity of that well-timed hug or smile, or thank you for making me laugh because I was spiraling down who the heck knows what kind of twisted psyche mess I was in that day. And it's easy to be like, okay, thanks, but not really acknowledge how profound they move you in those moments and how much it means. And he did that. It was ingrained in who he was. And I find that to be just amazing. I might love me some Titus. I mean, it is what it is, and not in any kind of disrespectful way. He's just family. He grew into family, and I will forever hold him in my heart. I think all of us do. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry, because I'm still fighting this cold, and my throat is just unfortunate. So, this is for having touched a kindred spirit. This is an acrostic flippin' sonnet for Titus, and it is just bad, is what it is. And so it goes like this. This is for having touched a kindred spirit by me, Pretty Bird. Does one pretend to be so undisturbed regarding words poetically inclined, and through my ideologies absurd, nepenthe flows through eloquence divine? The understanding garnered in refrain, homage and thoughts not lost in retrospect, one shared in beauty dancing over pain, never a need for friends to genuflect, and yearning to learn the ways that brought us faith, so as to know we occupy the stars, memorizing emotions as a wraith in words that reach through distance, near and far. This is the gift that you with ink impart, having held a piece of this poet's heart. And it does spell. Did I say smell? Jeez. It says Dr. Anthony Smith down the side of that sucker. So I made things very difficult because let me tell you what, me and sonnets are not friends. And then I threw an acrostic in there because why not do all the things? And it's nowhere near as wonderful as Titus can do with his eyes closed. And he wrote such a wonderful comment that I won't read on here, but if anybody feels so inclined, have at it. He is lovely. And I don't know how much proper to Titus poems there were that weren't kind of funny or weren't um I think that he had trouble being seen or acknowledging that he was seen, so that when things actually are undeniably affectionate, he held them close to his heart. He once told me that between his beautiful wife, and she is beautiful and as sweet as can be, I just love her. I told her that, because she was so revered, that we all kind of fell a little bit in love with her. And it's true. And I will hold on to that from now until forever because it's true, and she's quite amazing. And he once told me not too long ago that between his lady love and us, that we kind of, he's so stoic that we gave him his personality. Like how we see him is all the personality he has. And I'm like, I call bullshit, because I am who I am. I was like, we cannot make you into something you are not. You're just free to be exactly who you are, and we love you for it. And I'm glad that he found that place. I'm glad that he lived that place for years with her. I'm glad he found that place elsewhere with us, because something happens when you are free to be who you are, where you don't feel like you have to be exactly what people see you as. You can just exist in your own skin and be loved anyway. It's a beautiful thing. And with that freedom came all the jokes, came all of his naughtiness, came his little um I want to say insults, but they're not. They're just these little, well, yes, they were these little jabs of affection, because, when people are your people, we kind of razz each other. And there is nothing more delightful to me than when he was having a great day and he's picking on all of us. And I was just like, oh, I was like, we just got roasted by Titus. It's fine. Because it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And Penelope said, when you are who you should be, the world is a better place. And that is true. That is true. And especially for the ones that are actually free, that then that spreads to all those around them that can also bask in that newfound freedom. It's a beautiful thing to behold. It really is. And I think it's something that we all struggle with from time to time in our lives. And sometimes we don't get over it at all, and sometimes we are comfortable in our own skin with these people, but then, you know, full family holidays, you're back to being that 12-year-old that everybody bullied, or at work you're this or that. Listen, how I am now, you could ask anybody. It's kind of how I am. Am I a little bit louder on here? No, I'm just loud. I'm trying to, this. I talk a lot. I have opinions. I'm also very, very kind. So I'm a lot more. I will bend over backward. Oh, shush! I will bend over backwards to help my people do anything. Whatever you need, I'm here. But I'm also very much. So I'm going to say a thing, and then things come out. But it's all in love, and it takes a lot to get used to the parts of you that other people don't appreciate, and I'm very polarizing. He was also very polarizing, which I was amused at, because I don't know a lot of people that are as polarizing as I am. People either love me or they hate me. There's not a whole lot of middle ground, like, she's all right. There isn't a whole lot of that. And I think that Titus had a lot of that. You either really appreciated how he wrote, or you're like, yeah, I don't get it. There wasn't a whole lot of middle ground. And so he really leaned into all the jokes and all the and all that kindred spirit. It's a lovely thing to behold. And if you guys ever feel so inclined, he's on so many of our shows, especially the first 6 months of us, and we read all of his things, and all of his commentary, all of his jokes. We hold nothing back, and it's just a lovely thing to behold. It really, really is. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Bud gave me the link to the poem that he wrote for that show that we were talking about for Titus's 70th, and I'm putting it up. What is it, sweet?
Okay. So I believe, because this poem is so beautiful, and it was for Titus.
Oh, I don't need comments.
I think everybody deserves to hear what Titus said to you.
Okay.
So I get to read that. You're not going to, but I'm going to. And he said to you, dear pretty bird, your words move me deeply. There's such grace in how you express understanding, the sense of souls meeting through language. It feels like you've written not just about me, but about the rare connection between two minds that recognize each other. These words I will treasure. Reading it, I felt an echo of something eternal, that quiet comfort in knowing another spirit moves in harmony with your own. Thank you for giving me that feeling, such beautiful shape in words. Titus Llewellyn, Dr. Anthony Smith. Lovely. So, there was such a connection and such a friendship. And it's so obvious. And you just, if you ever want to know why Titus has the nickname Tightness, you really need to listen to some of our shows.
Tightness. Or I'll just tell you right now. Okay. So I was picking my youngest up from band practice, and I was listening to our show through my car speakers, which I hardly ever do, but I was listening, and we were Titus's poem ended, and we were talking about Titus, and so Titus came up a lot, and he's 16 years old, and he looks at me and goes, why does he call himself Tightness? I was like, it's Titus, but it's Tightness forever. And we have a whole birthday show for him called, Tightness Reigns. And because he's now he was Tightness, and he embraced it. He was like, well, maybe if I was a woman, but then, Tightness it is. And I love that. I love that. So he once posted a picture of him when he was younger. I was like, oh, holy hell, Titus, is that you? Because I don't know if you've seen a young Titus, but I mean, he was a good looking older Titus, but he was really good looking young Titus. And so when I was telling my other son that he passed, he's like, is this old hotness? And I was like, oh, sweet Jesus. Okay. So I must talk about him some kind of, I said, yes, today. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Because, I hold a certain affection for my people are my people. Once you're in the circle, there's no escaping, And so he was definitely, definitely our people. And so I have that poem that Buddha wrote using the lines from Titus. Did you want to read this one since I read the letter? Sweet.
Oh, I don't know. See,
I mean, it looks fine.
I have one rule under by gatekeepers I might struggle with. Just so you know. So what is that word? Interstalactical. Okay, I got it. So passage by Buddha. In the realm of impossibilities, under a sky of teal, we will be safe for a while under an umbrella of I knew I was going to screw that up.
Interstitial.
Thank you. See, interstitial. I still can't say it. Sorry, Buddha, I'm so sorry. Gatekeepers, lighting the soul pathway, guided by holograms of lightness that shine upon a garden tree, offering the only salvation felt. As dust settles onto its foundation, the scurry of the living cripples to a crawl, with memoirs of snapshots held to carry on from where love did roam, backlit by heaven's name, into a blanket of glimmer that trinkets a carpet worn by midnight, sealing the fate of day into night. And within this cosmic splendor, a jaw shall drop to see a falling star, as the eye captures the motion, a majestic solace in reverie, in a fleeting moment of suspended animation. And poem.
I love that. So the Titus lines that he took for inspiration were, a jaw shall drop to see a falling star, to carry on from where love did roam once lit. Under a sky of teal, we will be safe for a while. And he made an entire beautiful celestial. It's just beautiful. And again, Titus, being so appreciative, has this whole big old thing that ends with, I'm truly inspired. Now, I don't know if you know, while Titus would be inspired by the people that he let in, there was a lot of insipid things that he ignored, So to be inspired is a lot, because, I mean, he gets inspired by, time and space, and the depth of love, and the pain of distance, and things, um the philosophy of life, the philosophy of sin, which you have to read those, they're amazing. And so I don't know about having inspired Titus on any real level, but you did, through beauty written, inspired by his own words, and I love that. Enlightening the soul pathway guided by holograms of lightness that shine down upon a garden green, offering the only salvation felt. So here's the thing. There's something to be said if you're not under light pollution and you can see the Milky Way or just the stars in general, and you understand the vastness of things and the smallness of things at the same time. And all of it is splendiferous and all of it is awesome, like truly like awe-inspiring. It's a beauty to behold and things that we overlook. And there is a likeness to people in that, and that there is beauty to behold in everyone. And oftentimes we overlook it because sometimes it's a little too deep to get to with the orny, crotchety, get off my lawn crowd. I would be one of those. And but it's always worth the journey, because when you find the beauty in things that are often overlooked, it's almost like it's there just for you, at least for that moment. I think you did a great job, Bud, and thank you for sharing this with us. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
Oh, I really appreciate you sharing this with us. Again, it shows, like I've talked earlier about him, his lovely wonder and excitement of the stars and the pathway and what's out in the universe and all of the lovely things he used to just speak to in some of his poems and stuff. So it was just a beautiful thing, and I think that's just where I love to see him in my head is just in the captures of ocean and the you know out there learning all the mysteries of the heavens and everything that he wanted to know about. So I'm just very, very glad to know about all that. And Marak, your thoughts on this?
When you take somebody else's words and you build upon them, it's hard to make them mesh like they belong together. But you did it. You did a great job.
Um, you cut out. Hello?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I
Oh,
kind of
okay.
stopped.
Oh, all right. I'm like, there goes my studio again. But no, it's just you. That's fine. I am going to read my favorite Titus poem because I feel like it. Um, it is The Quietude of Beauty, on the Quietude of Beauty. And it's funny because I went to go get there's a SoundCloud for it, right? And so I went to go get the SoundCloud. It's not a SoundCloud, it's me. It's he pulled it off the show that
Oh,
I read it
because you
on.
read it for him.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh no, I'll just read it live. It's fine. I was like, ooh, I get to hear him read. No, he did not. It's just me. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is what we got. So that's what we're doing. And it's a pretty long one, but it is it's amazing. It's just, to me, this is how he sees every day, all the things in life. And it is beautiful. And my dog is very loud and she's starting to get antsy. So if she's panting over here, I apologize. But since my kids decided not to come when I called them to come and get her and take her for a walk, this is what we got. Okay, this is On the Quietude of Beauty by Titus Llewellyn. And it goes like this. A hush will settle when the day is kind, a tender weight that drifts from nowhere known, and in that moment, something fills the mind with more than any morning light has shown. It leans upon us gently like a hand that steadies thought and softens what we fear, and though it passes, few can understand how long its warmth can linger still and clear. For grace arrives in ways we rarely see, a shadow balanced on a distant wall, a whisper rising from a withered tree, a softness in the way the late leaves fall. It asks for nothing, nothing in return, yet from its quiet pulse our spirits learn. And when the seasons narrow into frost, when daylight thins and every color fades, we feel again the imprint of what's lost. that hidden peace no darkened hour degrades. It moves within the silence like a thread, unbroken by the years that pass us by, a subtle truth the weary heart has read in drifting rain and winter's open sky. So let the restless world be what it is. The grief, the gleam, the promises undone, for somewhere in the turning justice lives, and somewhere in the night a watch is spun. Not to protect us, nor to bind our days, but simply to remind us as we roam that even in the smallest passing rays, a deeper strength establishes its home. And if at last we walk beyond the din of hopes once cherished, vows once held as true, a calm will gather where our steps begin and show the gifts we never fully knew. Not bright nor bold, no easily found art, but something deeper, something softly cast, a steady fire held in the human heart that burns untroubled long beyond its past. There There are soft forces shaping us unseen, more faithful than the clocks that mark our hours. They rise in rooms where we have never been and open in us unexpected powers. A memory not ours yet strangely near may brush against a thought we cannot name, and suddenly the path ahead grows clear, steeled by a hope that makes no rightful claim. We find such moments scattered through our days, a face half turned, a lost bird's trembling cry, a glint of gold in late September haze, a simple truth we never questioned why. These fragments build the quiet of a soul as rivers shape a wider, deeper whole. Beneath our speech, another language lives, a cadence wrought of listening, not of sound, the small consent that thoughtful silence gives, the way a pause can sanctify the ground. We speak it best when thinking we are still, for stillness has its own articulate grace, a vow unvoiced, yet calm, unshakable, marked only by the lifting of a face. Though tides may change the patterns of our sand, though longing wears its grooves on every shore, there is a rhythm none can understand, yet find ourselves returning to once more. Not fate nor fortune, only what remains when all the louder certainties are gone. A patient voice that rises through our pains to tell us softly, you are not undone. There is a light that does not need to shine, yet makes its dwelling in the things we trust. In simple acts we never call divine, in friendship that outlasts the settling dust. It does not blaze, it gathers like a scent forgotten in the linen of a drawer, a warmth that asks no clue for where it went, but lingers unannounced a moment more. Sometimes it rests in objects we outgrew, a letter folded one too many times, a stone we pocketed without a clue, a faded ticket from forgotten climes. The world may call them trivial debris, yet they are anchors in the drifting sea. And sometimes it awakens in the night, not as a dream nor as troubled fear, but as a feeling cast in gentle light, a calm recalling what we hold most dear. It draws us from the edges of our ache and lays a quiet language on the air, a blessing offered for its own calm sake, unlooked for, unrequested, yet still there. So in the tremor of our passing years, in all we mourn, in all we still redeem, we hold a thread unbroken by our fears, drawn through the chambers of the living dream. And while it hums beneath our striving days, it keeps its vow in small abiding ways. Thus when the hours lean towards decline, and all our certainties grow undefined, something of beauty, quiet and benign, stands at the doorway, patient by design, not as a triumph, not as borrowed lore, but as the truth that asks for nothing more. End poem. This to me is his entire philosophy on life. It's in those moments when he learned to watch, when he learned to exist in the same place without trying to fix anything, because it's not broken. It's just emotion, and emotion is irrational, and all you can really do is be there for someone to cry on, be there for someone to vent to, be there in that space without judgment, with only love and affection. And in those moments you build trust, and in those moments you build the memories that hold you close in the absence of time or space or distance or whatever it is that makes proximity a challenge. And it's those little moments of time that don't require speaking, that are shared, that are the everything that a good life is built on. That it's those friends or partners or family of all kinds that know how to sit there and not be awkward about it. That if you can sit there and just exist in a space, if I can sit there and crochet while somebody is reading a book and we're just happy to share space and we don't feel like we have to talk or turn on the TV or do anything, that to me is a beautiful thing, because it's rare. It's rare that people don't want to fill the space. It's rare that there's that peace in the silence with somebody else, because so often when it's silent, it's either awkward or empty. And he defines those quiet moments as every emotion, the love, the companionship, the way we interact in a quiet space, just listening to someone breathe, that can bring you peace. Thing. I love that poem. It just speaks to the essence of him to me. So Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
Um, this is a great write, and it has a lot to teach. Because, like you said, the ability just to be in that moment, and this is something that was teaching me or mentoring me through. Let anybody steal your peace. Just to live in the silence, and that it was okay. That it was okay to live in the quiet. It was okay to remain calm in the chaos. And just let the truth. We asked for nothing more. And I said a lot that he was such a great mentor. And I, it does not blaze together. It's like a scent forgotten in the linen of a drawer. A warmth that asks for where it went, but unannounced a moment more. That is some beautiful warmth. And, if you're not getting that kind of warmth, maybe you should move on. So he was really let the restless world be what it is. The gleam, no place is undone. Um, I just wrapped it all up and said, like Greenberg mentioned, this is the great philosophy of how to be still and how to be, keep yourself together and not let anybody really take away what you have. It's not necessarily as easy as we're putting these words together, but it's a great way to try to live. And he was really helping me understand that, and helping me through not letting someone else, letting others take that quiet, and be okay with that quiet. Because truth never does really ask for anything more. And I love the last line of it. So wrap ups.
Yeah, I don't know what I could say. I mean, it takes me back, and and this is what he's left behind for us, and you know, I'm always appreciative to hear it.
So he said, "This is what was left behind," and my heart broke because I can't. I have not processed. I have not. He was, like I said, he had become family, and I don't. I'm broken.
Yeah.
Not that it's all about me or anything, because we all have a hole where Titus was. But I've never experienced someone be so consistently, so unwaveringly, so
Genuine.
he he never. Okay, so I'm having trouble with words. You would think that I don't write, but I'm having trouble with words because with words comes tears, and I'm gonna have to read the one where he talks about me blubbering, and but it's not embarrassing. It's fine. It's just I do a good job of making me neutral. You know, I do a thing. Whatever. You know, because every time I say, "Hey, that's pretty good," somebody is right there um that is telling me like, well, this one's better and that person does this and this. I don't give a crap about the other people. I'm proud of whatever it is that I did for this particular thing for what it is. Thank you, Penelope, and I appreciate you sharing time. And he just saw all the good things. Like all the things that I have been told were bad about myself. I'm too loud. I'm too opinionated. I'm too much of a know-it-all. You make people feel stupid. This is how I grew up. You know, I'm like, oh, how do I make people feel stupid? Like because I don't ever think anybody's stupid, and I don't, with all the condescension or name. I had no clue. But this is how I was raised, and he wasn't having any of it. So I learned how to put myself in a full neutral zero. And he's just like, no, you're kind of all the things. Just embrace the fact that you are all the things. And I'm all, okay, Titus, good night, Penelope. And I'm sorry for my coughing, but I'm getting over this cold and I'm talking an awful lot. I'm lucky I have a voice left at all. And, okay, so I'm trying to see. Sky has joined us, but everybody's having trouble with the microphone. Here's the thing. When you first click through the studio, you have to give permission for the microphone and the camera. And then it tells you you can turn the camera off before you enter the studio. But if you don't give permission, it doesn't open up anything. I know, bud, you did that. I know your phone's all messed up. I'll have some practice sessions with you so we can get you in here so we can figure out what's going wrong. But I could have sworn Sky was in here before. So, but it's not doing a thing for her either. It's like not letting. It's not showing any of the microphones, which
Maybe
sucks because I
Restream
want
isn't.
the people. What?
Maybe Restream isn't letting you because of the account.
No, we've got 10 open spaces. We're good. But they have to be open when you first go into the studio, also on your phone and also with the pairing. It's just, it asks when you go into the studio to, if it's asking for permission, and then you click yes, and then you turn your camera off. Because for some reason they tie them together. It's crazy. But we'll figure it out. Maybe not right now, but we'll figure it out. I don't want to make this all about me, but I kind of want to read the poem. Actually, I don't. I do. I don't. Okay, I have a problem reading Titus poems about me because my heart breaks, and I don't really want to ever make anything about me because it's not about me. But I think it's hysterical to see that he includes all of the inside jokes because he's a funny guy. And I don't know that people, just universally realize how hysterically funny he actually was, because he really, really is. Here, this one is, I think, the one. Let me see. Is it blubbering? Is it blubbering? Where's the blubbering? Where's the blubbering? Is this not the blubbering? Okay. Oh yeah, there it goes. Okay. This is not my favorite from Titus poem, but this one cracks me up. So I'm going to put this up here. Not because I am narcissistic, but because Titus cracks me the F up. And it's funny. Did you want to read them, sweet? It's an easy one.
I don't care. I can definitely do that.
Okay, it's on the board.
So, okay. This is a lantern from her pretty bird, Amana tetra. When moonlight bends through amber trees and whispers by an autumn breeze, she speaks with calm and ghost appease, appease. Her fluid charm of shadowed art finds reason where the echoes start. Each blubber blooms a wiser part, a heart, a heart. Through drifting meads her laughter glows, like lanterns born where friendship flows. Her warmth the night's secret knows, it knows, it knows. So praise the soul that lights the air, whose gentle wit turns gloom to prayer. In darker dream her truth is rare, so rare, so rare.
Sorry, I'm trying not to cough up a lung. It's funny because apparently my blubber blooms. And my response, which is long and we're not reading, starts with, "What is this blubber of which you speak?" Because I do not blubber on the air. I do, usually while reading Titus. But I think it's funny that he's all, I talk a lot. I'm a hot mess. I emote ridiculously, and he still loves to hear me. And it goes for Sweet Pea too. It's he embraced all the things, even the things that like we were embarrassed by, or that I was embarrassed by, and he's just like, no, no, you're fabulous. There's my favorite one that he wrote to me is something about a gleam for Pretty Bird, and part 1. There's no part 2. I'm not disappointed. It's fine. But it's the most beautiful thing anybody's ever written that had anything to do with me. I'm like, I want to be that girl. I want to be that. That's what I want to be. I think we should read some of the farewells in the comments to Titus on the Pretty Sweet page that we announced this show, because there are a few and they're pretty long, and I think that they deserve to be given to Titus. So let me put this on the board. I don't know if you have it up, sweet. So I'm gonna put it on the board, and
okay.
You pick one to read, I'll pick one to read, and we'll go down the line. There's only like 4 of them.
Okay, I'll tell you the one thing I'm very kind of sad, a little narcissistic, is not being able to finish the A to Z poem that he was just challenged on. So I was a little upset. It's okay.
Bud's like, somebody's squeaking. That's my dog and one of her 15 lammies. And so
Yeah.
Titus challenged you to do one of those A through Z poems.
Yeah, because he had read it. And I was, yeah, the starts with the letter A, and you go through the whole alphabet. Yeah, because I was like, oh, that's fascinating. I'm going to have to do that. And he's like, well, you better do it. So now I have to do it anyway. So.
Okay, so did you click on the thing? Are you in the comments?
I am on the comments. So.
Okay, so why don't you read Carmine? I'll read Night Owl.
Okay. This is Carmine Lombardo. This is sad. This sad news has touched my heart, as well as I know it has touched the hearts of countless friends and readers who have read this outstanding work. Titus was gifted with a golden pen, and this expression will be a legacy to his greatness. My empathy is bestowed to his wife and family with this great loss. May they find comfort in the words of our God and all comfort. Our prayers are with and for them. We will see Titus again.
That's beautiful. And from Ambient Night Owl, Titus was a man of many talents, a man I was fortunate enough to know, not as well as I wish I had, but in a way that made it feel like I'd known him my whole life. His words touched countless people, and the impact of everything he accomplished throughout his incredible life will continue to resonate for generations. He was kind, he was a fighter, and above all, he loved deeply in everything he did. Rest well, my friend. You have earned your peace. And I have no idea what that says at the bottom in whatever language that is, but so I sorry to not be able to put that out there because I have no stinking clue. Do you want to read Luyu or Asama?
You go ahead and read Lulu. I'll read Asama.
Titus found me while I was a new poet, while I was new on AP, and his poetry sings in my heart as I hear his soft voice that captured my heart with his classic romantic voice. I send my prayers and condolences to his wife and family.
Esma, my sincere condolences to his family, friends, and fellow passing Titus. A great poet and a prominent member of the AP community. May he rest in peace. I unfortunately joined the live show, but if it's okay, this poem on my behalf. And we have read our poem.
Yes. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my goodness. I know that we skipped announcements, but I don't think this show needed announcements. And I feel like I kind of want to read his free verse poem because we read that sonnet chain of all things Titus. And I kind of really want to read that other one. So let me get there. If I can remember what the heck it's called. Oh, it's Why Should I Fucking Change? That says it all right there. Let me find it. It was a little ways back. I didn't think it was that far back. Jeez Louise. He was very proficient. Where is it? Here it is. Oh, jeez. It was already 5 months ago. It feels like yesterday. It's crazy.
I know.
And when I read this, you're going to see why it's our favorite. I think that we kind of rubbed off on him a little bit. Which
Very
I'm not mad at.
prodigious.
What?
Very prodigious.
What did I say? Proficient?
Yes.
No. I mean, whatever. It's not like it doesn't fit. Let's see. Okay, I thought somebody else came in, but they did not. All right. No, I thought I saved it. Because apparently I can't get my shit together. Okay, this is Why Should I Fucking Change by Titus Llewellyn. And this is his spoken word free verse fabulousness. And And there's a little caveat at the top of this that says, getting fed up being judged as I've done since 2002 to end with free verse. And verse is like all bold and huge, which cracks me up. Because, he tends to be more soft spoken to the masses. Does he have his moments? Oh, absolutely. He can be a little crotchety, but all within reason.
This is one of them.
This is freaking fabulous, though. This is Why Should I Fucking Change by Titus Llewellyn. Titus said fuck. It's okay. They keep asking when I decided to stop behaving as if language comes with a dress code and I miss the memo taped to the inside of my skull. They say, this doesn't sound finished. This doesn't sound civil. This doesn't sound like poetry. And I wonder when poetry started needing permission slips from idiots with tenure and bastards with curated opinions. I didn't fall out of rhyme. Rhyme walked away from me, buttoned its coat, said it had better things to do than stand in the rain with my mouth open. So now I speak sideways. I speak with gravel in my throat. I speak like someone who has been corrected too many times by people who have never bled on a page. They judge the mess, not the survival. They flinch at the smear, not the wound. Shit happens. It's not vulgar. That's accounting. Life doesn't scan. Pain doesn't care about meter, and grief sure as hell doesn't wait for a couplet to feel ready. I've been called bitter, difficult, undisciplined. Words used by tidy minds who mistake obedience for craft. They want polish. I want oxygen. They want restraint. I want to finish this sentence before it strangles me. And somewhere along the way, poetry became a gated community, and I was expected to mow the lawn instead of tearing down the fence. So yes, I'm estranged. I stand outside the circle watching them congratulate each other for saying nothing beautifully. I call bullshit when bullshit shows up and wearing credentials. I call bastards bastards because euphemisms are how rot spreads quietly. If that makes me unfit, unrefined, unwelcome, fine. I didn't come here to be likable. I came here to be accurate. I don't owe rhyme my loyalty. I don't owe tradition my silence. And I don't owe anyone an apology for choosing a voice that sounds like a human being under pressure. Let them judge. Let them whisper. Let them write essays about what I should have done. I
Damn
will
it.
keep writing like like the world is loud, like time is short, like truth sometimes needs teeth. And if they can't hear music in that, that's their deafness, not my failure, which has brought about this end. I have fucking had enough. End poem. And that is the most untitus and entirely Titus at the same time thing that
I
I've
don't know
ever
what you
read.
did to my phone, but I can't hear a damn thing. I was on the air.
You're on the air. We still hear you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with Rack's phone. Obviously, he's having technical difficulties. But yeah, so that poem is very much Titus in a nutshell. When he gets a little ticked off at you, yet holds his own. He is not wrong, but I love that he's brave enough to put it out there, and it kind of goes in complete contrast to the soft romance that we know him for. And I love that. I love the freedom in that. I love the openness in that. I love everything about that poem. And I love that he says fuck and shit and all the things, because he doesn't. He was not a cursor. He was very well spoken. He didn't, but here it is. And sometimes a well-placed fuck is the perfect punctuation for a mood, for a scenario. And he played it perfectly. It is an exquisite spoken word poem. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts on Titus's spoken word?
This is one of my favorite Titus's poems, just because I write a lot of readers myself, and I get a lot of crap about it. I get, if you would have just changed this line or done this meter, that would have rhymed and that might have worked out better for you. No, I said exactly what I wanted to say and where I wanted to say it. And, this is another just great validation from Titus. Be who you're going to be. Don't let anybody change you. Don't let anybody tell you what you got to do. Write what you feel, write how you feel. Now, I've come a long way as a writer, between the many mentors I've had, and but it's still write from your emotion, write from your heart, write from what your mind tells you. Don't write always to a, you know, sonnet or all of the boxes. You don't always have to. And I do write meter and I do write sonnets and I do write these things, but you don't always have to. And if you are even writing all of the forms, don't write for the form, write for the emotion. And I think that's what, he's saying, that so many people out there forget that. They get so busy about the form that they forget there should be a story or an emotion in there. They stand inside the fences congratulating each other for writing nothing beautiful. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about this is, yeah, pat yourself on the back, you got the form right, but it doesn't mean crap. It has no teeth, it has no truth, and it has no beauty. And it was kind of just like, there you go, pay attention. So yeah, that's beautiful. And I don't know where Rack's at, so if you can hear us or not hear us, say something, my love.
Something, my love.
There you are. Your thoughts on I have fucking had enough. Any thoughts? Now I can't hear him. All right, pretty bird, I'm going to go back to you.
I'm sitting here just talking up a storm, not even realizing that my shit was on mute. My bad.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sitting there going, I'm talking. I'm like, oh, I don't think he can hear me. Oh, of course not, because nobody could. And you would think that I couldn't see my mute button. My mute button's about an inch circle that glows white when you hit it. So it's just right there. So I have no excuses for being an idiot. My bad. Oh, my goodness. And we lost Rack again. But
no,
I don't know. I'm not processing this well, and my poor husband, I'll be sitting there driving the car and just all of a sudden, just literally 15 seconds of just full wet face tears. And then I'm fine. And then because I don't know how to be so heartbroken. It took me 2 months, 2 months almost to the day when my mom passed before I lost my shit completely because I had so much things to do, so much to do, so much to do, so much to do, paperwork wise, family wise, all of the things that I just couldn't relax. And it wasn't until I can finally relax and that out of nowhere it hit me. And then 24 hours straight, I don't even think I slept. I just cried for 24 hours straight and then I'm good. I worry about when this is going to hit me because I don't know that I realized how deeply bonded I was because I don't generally let people in, and the people that I do let in, like fully let in, I are my people for life. Even if you don't want to be my people anymore, I still count you as my people, um, because that's how I am. So I'm afraid that when it hits me full on, I'm gonna be a mess. And also selfishly, I haven't been able to write since I had long COVID and my brain stopped working the way it worked. That maybe this will knock all that shit loose, and maybe I'll write the best poem I ever wrote in my life. Well, because pain does that. It's wonderful inspiration. Not that that's how I want to be inspired, but things happen. I don't know. I don't know that I will ever feel like anything I say can do him justice, because he was just so much better of a person than I will ever be, than I could ever hope to be. He was just inherently kind and supportive and enthusiastic about everybody's anything. If you said, I want to try this, he's like, let's go. And would be like, let's see it. And it didn't matter if it was writing or something personal or whatever it was you shared with him. He was full on your biggest cheerleader in the most British reserved way possible. Because he's very polite and he's very different than our outspokenness. I mean, we did bring him over to the dark side. We absolutely did. And our closing mantra is, fuck all the way off. And the one time he tried to type in fuck all the way off, he was like, fuck all you all, fuck all of you. Or fuck you all is what he said. And I'm dying because that's not quite the same, Titus. It's not quite the same. But we broke him. He just a little bit. I think we are. I don't know how to say until next time, until we meet again, on anything that isn't. I don't like past tense because I don't want to think of a place where he doesn't exist. Because when you've had so many days where the only thing holding you up is this passing comment that you get in a message going, by the way, I hope you know that you are, amazing. And I'm just like, I don't even know why you think that. I don't care, but because you said it, thank you. And but when you get those things out of the blue at what's like 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, and which is, full morning over there, and you wake up to something that changes your mood for the day just randomly for no reason, and it's exactly what you need to hear. It's like he's in tune with another plane of existence that shoots out these little nuggets of words that are exactly what somebody needs to shut down their negativity and exist in a better place. And I don't want to go back to not having that. And maybe that makes me selfish or greedy or needy or all the things. But I will forever want to be the person he believed me to be. I want to be that girl. So, and anything else to say before we say goodbye?
Well, I was going to read my other letter to Titus.
Go
I
ahead.
never wrote him another poem.
Excuse me.
Don't blubber on the radio.
I do not blubber on air unless it's for Titus.
Because to say goodbye would make this a reality for me, Titus. So I will continue to think of you in space, solving all the mysteries of the universe. Because of so many of the poems I read, you and your love thoughts on the mysteries of the universe. I don't think you realize everything you've done, all the lives that you've touched, and all the people that adored you. But I'm just a girl who lived in the mountains. who for years thought maybe she could be a writer. And then you came along and you validated me. You validated me. This doctor from Cambridge came and said to me, "You're not pretending. You actually are. And here's how you can be better." I don't know why I've had all these other people have said, "You can do this. You know you can." And somehow your words stuck and you managed to validate me. And you never, ever swayed from that. And I can't thank you. I just can't thank you enough. You have made me think. You have made me grow. You have made me laugh. And you have made me fall in love with words I at one point never even knew existed. As far as pretty sweet distractions, every show you will be missed. Your quick wit, your great humor, and your great poetry. You were so much a part of our lives. And I am forever grateful for you. Thank you for letting me in. It was one of the greatest blessings. For letting me, and I'm glad more than you know.
So I'm going to do our announcements, and then I'm going to end on a poem that he wrote a while back called "If I Should Leave," and it's it's also an acrostic that says Titus Llewellyn down the side. And we'll see if I make it through that, but that's what we're going to end on. So I will be publishing this tomorrow, Monday at the latest, and I will post the link to it everywhere. Maureen, I will give this to you so you can listen to it always. I feel weird going, we go live every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. So we do, but I'm not talking about the shows. They'll be posted. Wherever you're listening to this, you can find all of our other stuff. But when it comes to this show in particular, if you know Titus, if you have enjoyed his work, if you hold any affection, share it. Let the world see how much he meant to us. And I will be putting the link to his all poetry pages and the link to his SoundCloud in the description of this. So everybody can find his words, can find his voice, and can find the heart with which he wrote everything. So this is If I Should Leave. My dog is snoring back there. I swear she sounds like farts. I am so sorry. This is If I Should Leave by Titus Llewellyn. And of course, it's a sonnet. So how fitting is that? And this was written 9 years ago. But it's perfectly fitting. Again, If I Should Leave by Titus Llewellyn. Those poets who have left us without warning, imminency seems to have applied its trade, too late to learn the sonnet's form conveyed, utterance for at this moment mourning. Seems to have given me time, adorning love in the highest. Let these words so speak, letting go significantly. I do my thoughts, each filled with love, the life and times, whenever you are that near. No fear resorts except that is when I alone, whose chimes let loose amongst the sonnet's details spread. Lots of warning, not to blame what's said. Your love will be forever shared the same. Not knowing will have shown that poet's name. And we will love you forever. And we will read you forever. And you will likely be part of our shows for a long time coming, because I don't know that we are ever going to not consider you a part of who we are. I hope that you know how well you are loved, because you are so well loved. And Maureen, if you should ever need anything, or you need to talk, or whatever it is, you know where we are. And I don't know how to say goodbye, so feel free to close the show however you want to, sweet.
This
Sweet.
has been the show.
Oh, there you are.
I'm here. No, I'm not going to close the show the way you normally do. I just thank everybody that wrote for him, everybody that was here tonight, everybody that sent us something here tonight, because it was all about the love. I'm just going to keep looking at the chat. Just keep wishing that. You know, I know that I said it to a fan, how much it breaks my heart. But Pretty Sweet is a great home. That you were here to hear all his laughter and all his fun and all his. So again, thank everybody for being here and showing your love. And with that, we're going to say goodnight.
Good night, Tony. We love you.